Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel for the program Africa Discourse. I am Wilson Marshall. Well, today is all about the political unrest in Ivory Coast. For almost 10 years now, after the reign of Laurent Gbagbo, it's like Ivory Coast have been able to attain that crescendo, so to speak, of peace. But right now, the peace is being thwarted because of the ambition of the current president. Yes, talking about Alassane Ouattara, occasioned by the death of his right-hand man. Anyway, my honors will want to throw more light into this story, but as it stands right now in Ivory Coast, more than 6 persons have lost their life due to that announcement and ambition. You get to see around police personnel in Ivory Coast muffling, pushing back, tear gas, just trying to maintain law and order. Many are of the opinion that this is not what they dreamt of the country. These are contending issues. These are burning issues. What do you think Alassane Ouattara should do at this point in time? With me here in the studio to talk about this, I have a political analyst and of course an entrepreneur. When you talk about being the top man of the Rotary, yes, he's there. What about Scouts? Yeah, president of the youth also, you know, he's an embodiment of so many things in this great country and of course this great state of ours. To me to welcome Honorable Agarase Idubo. Honorable, welcome to Africa Discourse.
Thank you very much, nice to be here.
Right. And so very close to him is an astute lecturer, political analyst, political affairs commentator. When he dives into history, you're going to realize that this man really knows his audience. Join me to welcome Felix Osaime. Welcome to Africa Discourse.
Good afternoon, Wilson. Yes, good afternoon.
Thank you so much for coming. All right, here we are. After Gbagbo was thrown the exit, charged to International Criminal Court, and all that, people are thinking that Alassane Ouattara is the man that will take Ivory Coast to the next level. Last week we talked about it when he made the announcement. The spontaneous reaction we're getting now wasn't what was saying last week, because right now cities are beginning to react and police also are trying to maintain law and order in the best way they know how to do it. 6 persons have lost their lives already. Wanton destruction of lives and properties, talking about what is happening in Ivory Coast. What are your perception on these contending issues, Honorable?
Yeah, let me start from your remarks that he said he would take Ivory Coast to the next level. Of course he did. Of course he did. By the time he took over the reins of power, Ivory Coast was in ruins. Ivory Coast was just trying to recover from a very dastardly situation. And the man came and took Ivory Coast from that level to a level which everybody around the world will say the man has done well. For an economy to grow at 8%, that's a very, those who are economists, they will tell you that for an economy to grow at 8%, we celebrate 3% in Nigeria, for instance. And the economy of Ivory Coast grew 8%. And most of the things the demand stabilized the policy of Ivory Coast. Brought in peace, everybody was perfectly happy with the situation in Ivory Coast. But having said all of that, at a point, the man was ascribed to be leading one of France's biggest ally, Ivory Coast. But what has caused the problems that we are experiencing now, so to speak, is the third-term ambition, which of course was not his original plan. His original plan was to hand over to an ally of his, who has been his friend for 30 years, who again is Prime Minister of the country. He believed that one, having known the vision and mission of government, he could go ahead and take over from him. But when the man died in July, no. And looking at the quality of those who are also aspiring to become president, one would say that from, look at Bedi, for instance, who is the front runner. Yeah. He was president in '93, and history has recorded him on the wrong side because he didn't do well when he was president. He didn't do well at all. History has recorded him as one of the worst presidents of Ivory Coast. Now he wants to come at 86 to now come and start to do what, again, he calls leading the people, with people. So all of this put together, even to our friend, Toro is quite good. But looking at all those who are contesting the elections now, nobody just said that. The president just said that. Looking at all of you, I don't see any person who can carry on this vision. But again, you cannot come to the backyard. You can't come to the backyard to now say, okay, fine, haven't done your legitimate 2 terms. Yeah. I mean, the only thing that is proper is to go. Just go. And one thing about African leaders, if you are president for 2 terms, and you have only one person you could trust in the whole 8 or 10 years of your service, then you have not done well.
Okay.
You've not done well. So for me, if he said his reason for coming or wanting a 3rd term is because his ally died, that to me is not enough. It's not a strong enough reason.
All right, that to you is not a strong enough reason. Should I call you comrade now? What do you feel about all this? Taking a look at the antecedent of how the Ivorians got to where they are now. Taking it up from 2010 and right now, from what you rightly said, due to the death of Prime Minister Coulibaly, occasioned by heart attack. He said he is the best man to run for the job. After all, it's constitution.
Interestingly, the situation in Ivory Coast, or in Cote d'Ivoire, relates to the problem of leadership and succession in Africa. In factual terms, Alassane Ouattara has not done badly as a president. Let's take a look at how he came in. He had a very good pedigree, having schooled in the US. He took his studies up to the doctorate degree level, and he majored in economics. Let's look back again at his profile. He has worked both in the US and in West Africa. I didn't use his country, I used West Africa because when he was really on the top of his career as an economist, it was at the Central Bank of French West Africa. So that's the bank that plans monetary policies and the currency situation in the CFA zone. So he rose very high in that establishment, and at the time
was deputy governor.
Deputy governor. Actually, he acted as governor
sure.
at the time. So a man that has reached that level, at the regional level, the man knows his onions. And when even while he was there, as an executive member of that body, he was called to come back home to work in his country under Felix Houphouët-Boigny, the father and founding father of Cote d'Ivoire. So he has already worked there before. He has had cabinet position. And in the long run, he joined partisan politics, became a candidate of a party, and took a shot at the presidency. The first vote, there was no clear winner. So they called for a second run, and in the second run, the odds favored him. But mysteriously, it was Laurent Gbagbo that now claimed victory.
Yeah.
So that was what caused the crisis of 2010 that lingered up to April 2011, that Gbagbo had to be forced out by the French government. And with Gbagbo's exit, because he had already created a parallel government at that time, Alassane Ouattara now became officially recognized as president. In fact, they had to go back and formally announce that he actually won the votes, the popular votes, that by 54% of the votes cast. Now, given that kind of situation, the man therefore knows the problem in the country. There was civil war in 2000 and 2003. He was involved in all this, and he also had a very difficult time to gain acceptance in government. How? Because as a younger child, when he was born into the country, there was the issue of his nationality being dual, that he was part Burkinabe and part Cote d'Ivoirian, because he is from the northern part of Cote d'Ivoire, and most of them intermarry across ethnic and boundary lines. So he, at the time, while he was even in elementary school, he actually claimed to be a citizen of Burkina Faso. So all those things were issues that were waiting for him that Gbagbo even exploited. But Alassane Ouattara was a very popular person with the northern elements in the country because he is from that side and he has very good and career profile. So he was the man for the job. With the support he got from the multinational peacekeepers that were stationed in Abidjan, he was able eventually to unseat Laurent Gbagbo. He took the reins of power, and with a lot of macroeconomic policy, he was able to bring relative peace to the country, moved the economy around, was able to stem corruption. And the Truth and Reconciliation Commission that he set up was able to heal wounds. So he has done well. In fact, as of 2016, they had to use normal legislative procedure to correct the problem that most of them were having of dual nationality, to say that if either of a candidate's parents is from Côte d'Ivoire, the person was capable and qualified to run for the highest office in the land. So he has already done all this. And he is even claiming now that his desire for a third term in office is predicated on the fact that in 2016, there has been a constitutional amendment that gave him the opportunity to now contest. And that is the clause of correcting his citizenship status, which had been an issue. But let me draw it down a bit. The fact that he wants to go for a third term is not good. It's not good because no matter how capable you are as a leader, the greatest legacy you leave behind is to create a replacement for yourself.
Create a replacement for yourself, saying it's not good. Okay,
because
all right.
Nobody lives forever. Human beings have timeline. We are limited by time and space.
Okay, all right. I will come back to you. Now, from the reasons he gave, it was like the Constitution allowed him to vie for that position, being backed by the fact that Coulibaly died. Now, with the protest of IVORY, I don't think is the right thing for him to do, to step down rather than throwing the country into another round of unrest.
No, honestly, the issues are very clear. One, his credibility and the country's security. Because, you know, like my brother just said, he is going to throw the country into another civil war. People are already protesting, and I keep believing if RRSA has done well as a leader, and you cannot replicate, you cannot reproduce yourself, you cannot regenerate, then of course you haven't done well. I mean, our great investor that says success without successor is failure. True. So if you think the only person you can trust died, and for that reason you are coming to the ring again, then they'll box you out of the ring. So that's what's happening to him now. For me, I think if a man has been president for, I mean, for 2 terms now, and you have not been able to say to yourself that no plan B, the only plan B is to come back to the ring. If the prime minister died, which you thought you could hand over to effectively well, and you can trust to carry on with your vision, then of course you must be able to pick somebody else who can also carry on with the vision. So what he has done now is trying to throw the country into an unnecessary civil war. Yes, you know, my brother said he came from the north. He broke the jinx of north-south. It used to be south all through. Yeah. So when he came from the north, people now saw him as a very stable, a vehicle they can use to achieve. Now let us break this south matter. And he came and he did very well. History has recorded him as Ivory Coast's best president. I mean, the founding president, like you said, founding president was there for 33 years. I mean, it's one thing again. I mean, he's saying that for 33 years he couldn't groom anybody to now continue. So these are issues that I think we must try to. I mean, even the Benny who was there for 9 years, he wants to come back. If you are a past president and you did well as president, people will keep remembering that when he was president, he did well. Then if you think you want to come again, like Gbagbo is supporting him now. I mean, Gbagbo is also not a good reference point, for leadership. So he's supporting him to come. So for me, like I said earlier, the president is believing that any of those guys, 2 of them don't even have parties now, they don't even have parties. The former foreign minister He doesn't belong to any party. He wants to be an independent candidate.
Candidate, yeah.
So if at the end of the day, the man just thinks, oh, this my country, Ivory Coast, without me being there, these people that I'm seeing now, these ones, they cannot take us, they will take us backwards. But having said that, it's also not a good reason to want to stay on the power. It should, I mean, it could be a godfather.
A godfather. They're all fighting here.
Against that. Bring somebody who you can, so to speak,
all right,
it will be mentoring and be believing that yes, he's the one there, but you can stand as a good advisor at the end of the day.
All right, as a good advisor at the end of the day. Now he mentioned a name, Gbagbo. The last clip you saw, yes, this lady here is the wife of Laurent Gbagbo, and she's like saying that, look, you should allow everyone to have a bite, to have the right, or will I say the opportunity to vie for that position. After all, Laurent Gbagbo also is like showing interest. With this man coming into the scene, don't you think he's making everything worse?
No, Gbagbo is showing interest, not to come as president. He's showing interest to support, you know, Benny, you call him, the 86-year-old that wants to, you know.
Okay.
Gbagbo is supporting him.
Supporting the opposition, so to speak. Now, with this support, is it not going to cause, as in, hit up the politics more?
Yeah, you see, the problem, the buck stops at the table of Alassane Ouattara, the city president. He's incumbent. October is close. The elections are supposed to hold in October. Yeah. And he has let the cat out of the bag by saying that he wants to run again. I think, as I said, okay, I feel, and strongly too, that this is a major problem in Africa. The inability to accept that you have to leave when your time is up. Short of dying in the office, there is a provision. The Constitution said you have 1 term, and you can go for a second term, which he has exhausted. The Constitution did not say you can come back for a third term. He is claiming that 2016 constitutional referendum, which was not even accepted by most of the members of the country, because a lot of the legislators walked away from the debate. These are issues that cripple in Africa. And people should look at Nelson Mandela's model. Mandela served only 1 term. He had international recognition. He had the goodwill. He could have become president for life. But he realized that the greatest success you can actually attain is to have a successor. And mentoring is critical. When people keep complaining that teachers are bad, teachers are treated, because teachers are role models. They don't cut corners with you. They straighten you, they keep insisting, they sacrifice their time, their energy, their resources to build people. Most leaders in Africa do not build people to replace them. They build institutions that depend on them. So everything now becomes the cult of personality. And that is why once they are out of power, they want to make sure that nothing works behind their back or before them, if they are not capable of influencing the process, which leads to the Godfather syndrome. Mentoring is not Godfatherism. You can mentor and say, this is the time for you to take up a child. Every child crawls, sits up, start crawling, later they start toddling, then the child now start walking. Parents cannot do that for their children. Parents will have to support children through that process. But the parents want to make sure that the child doesn't suffer any harm in the process of learning how to walk and falling. But children must go through that process. So you cannot insist that because your prime minister died unfortunately, then you cannot see any other person. The country is not deficient in capable persons.
Sure.
The problem is they do not want to look beyond the cycle that they have created. And this is the problem of having cliques and cabals. You should build institutions. Once you are building personalities, institutions will not function. But if you build institutions, whoever goes in there fits in. If you are driving a car, if the car is automated or manual, the car is a car. All you need to do is know the skill of deciding whether this is automatic transmission or manual transmission, which is why the vehicle will get you to your destination. Okay. So leaders in Africa, let me quickly point this out, because this is the problem. Yeah. The man has done very well as a leader. His problem now is that he doesn't want to give up that position. That will now be an eventual failure that will mar his achievements. Okay. So he still has time.
He still has time.
Yes. He has not even reached the brink. He can still pull back. He should even be telling people that I'm packing my bags already. You guys should warm up for replacement. You have my achievement as your standard. it is there you have to start from. If you go less, you face public opprobrium. If you excel, you have built upon the existing legacy. So this is a very critical problem for African leaders.
Okay, now if you take a look at it, you begin to see a woman being interviewed, and of course the market scene, they are stockpiling food items.
Because, you know,
that is what they are doing right now. Now, do you see what happened during the era of Bible repeating itself right now?
Yes, you know, not just the women now, everybody. That, you know, I was in Ivory Coast for a Rotary International function about 3-4 years ago. It was called the West African Project Fair for Rotary. Ivory Coast is a very fine place. Fine place. You know, fine place.
The jewel of French
yes.
West Africa.
Ivory Coast is a very fine place. And life is cheap. Like people are saying, you know, from the clip you are showing, what they used to buy for 2,000, 2.5, it's now 3,000.
3,000, yeah.
It's gone up. And because it's gone up, everybody is like, they're anticipating war.
Yes, panic buying.
Yes, they're anticipating war. Like, you know, like we also used to do here when they say don't to increase petrol, you know, we go and start to buy petrol. And when Corona came, everybody decided to, you know, buy everything.
Yeah.
So the things are getting to a point where the president should just understand, look, save the country. Save the country from a foreseeable danger. I mean, you are seeing it. You are seeing the danger. It's not a question of saying, it's not unforeseen. You know the consequence of any action you take now. And they're saying, oh God, you have done well. And the whole world has said it's done well. And Ivory Coast is said to have the, you know, the fastest growing economy between the last 10 years.
Yes, in West Africa.
In West Africa. So for you to have done well, now you want to now rubbish your achievements. Then your credibility will now be, you know, if you, what you have done, what you have built for about 10, 11 years, you now come and rubbish it. So for me, my advice for him is to quietly, like you said, quietly just say, fine, I've done my bit. But I think it's a problem, and I share from it. I share from it. X-ray all those who are running now, X-ray all of them. They are persons who have the history, maybe two who, okay, is the youngest of them all, who also is on, you know, self-exiled now. Again, you know, one thing that I also have discovered, the older a leader, you know, becomes, the more strict, and the more wicked. I use the word wicked.
Is it wicked or strict?
Wicked.
It's not strict.
No, wicked, because now he's punishing people. Yes. He's punishing opponents, and I mean that's wickedness. He's punishing. I mean, you try a man for corruption, and people are saying the man is not corrupt. You are saying the man was corrupt. People are shouting that the man is not corrupt. I mean, in Nigeria, if you try a man for corruption, people say, the man is the thief. But this one, you tried, you jailed him. And people are saying, no, the man is not, this man we know is not corrupt. Then about 20 of his friends, you are jailing them. I mean, that's wickedness. That's wicked. So that's why at times it's not good to overstay power. You have too much power. Right. You know, they say absolute power, you know,
absolutely.
So now he's displaying that absolute nature of power, which is, you know, which is not true. So let him just, like you said, let him just pack his load and go. He has set a record in Ivory Coast. Now they can measure any other person that comes. Look, my friend, see what this man, now you are taking us backwards. It will be painful to him because he does not see any of them as being able to, you know, do or carry on from where he will stop. So for me, African leaders must learn, the day you start to run, you must, or to rule, or to govern, you must be thinking about your exit point.
Placement.
Your exit point. And your exit point, you must be ready to say, okay, fine, this person can, you know, suffice. This person can do for me or do for the country what I am doing now if you have done well. So African leaders must learn from the day you start to build a successor who can understand the word, using the word, your vision and mission.
Vision and mission. Now, from what all is happening right now in Ivory Coast, can one deduce that somewhere along the line, Alassane Ouattara is becoming a dictator?
Well, we will not accuse him of that at this stage. It is only after October that can become a fact. But as it is, there are pointers to that end. And at this point in time in the development of Cote d'Ivoire and the West African sub-region generally, being a sea-tight ruler is not, it's no longer popular. It's not acceptable. What would, he should be thinking of becoming a statesman and an internationally recognized figure. Now, former President of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, was able to do that by conceding defeat and congratulating President Muhammadu Buhari from the opposition to become incumbent. He set a standard. That is the recognition he's having all over the world today.
Sure.
And that is why every time different government, different international bodies keep inviting him. I mentioned Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela did only one thing. He had the goodwill, the international goodwill. He could have remained president for life in South Africa. Thabo Mbeki that followed him started tinkering with the constitution and they showed him the door. Jacob Zuma came in, started manipulating processes. They showed him the door. Cyril Ramaphosa is there now. That is how institutions are built. You see, if Mandela's trajectory had been developed, South Africa, as good as they are, can still be better. Now, we are coming to Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire, Alassane Ouattara has done well from 2011 April till date. And in doing well, the failure, the thing he has not seen will likely ruin his reputation the way it's going.
Right.
If African leaders want to take anything from our discussion today, we should project this idea for them that the day you take that oath of office, know that your tenure is also timed. From that day, as you are achieving your mission and vision, be building capable leaders that can sustain the institutions that have been put in place.
Thank you so much. Our time is up. We have 30 seconds. Honorable, to give last line on this discussion. This is an abridged version. What advice do you have for African leaders? And of course, Alassane Ouattara that has this almost spotless record.
No, is it the desire to remain in office, very unbridled desire to remain in office should be checked so that at the end of the day, you can do, even if you're the best president anywhere in the world, do your 2 terms or 1 term and just go. Let history record you on the right side, as I haven't done very well.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I know we have so much to say, but I have to call it a wrap right now. Well, you've heard them. We'll keep watching. Let's see if Alassane Ouattara may just make a reverse, so to speak, on his decision to run due to the death of Coulibaly. Quite interesting. See you tomorrow on the International Forum. God willing, bye for now.